Well, hello everybody. This is Jack Byrne from Middlebury College, where I am the director of the Sustainability Integration Program. And I'm really happy to be here with you today and hope that in some small way I can contribute to your efforts there to bring sustainability principles and practices into the curriculum and the operation of the campus. I've been involved in sustainability efforts in Chile through participation in the conference that was held in 2010 in Santiago to inaugurate the Sustainable Campuses Protocol that your university and a number of others and our school, Middlebury's school in Chile, in Santiago, helped create. And I also I spoke at that conference. I led a workshop. And then a year later, last summer, I came back and facilitated a 3-day workshop for faculty and staff from 12 different universities and agencies in Santiago on how to integrate sustainability into the curriculum and into projects that are being carried out. I also met with some of the faculty and staff there at the Universidad de Chile, and we had a nice conversation about some of the different ways in which sustainability could be approached. So I'm really gratified to see that the progress that's been made and the continuing efforts you're making there to take this idea of sustainability and integrate it into your culture and your practices there. I want to talk a little bit about the sustainability movement in the U.S., which has been going on for quite a while, but I think a significant milestone was the year 2007. It was the first national conference of the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. And that year 700 people came to the conference. The next year nearly double that, and the next year almost double that again. So now those conferences, annual conferences, are attended by about 2,500 people from all over the country, from higher ed institutions who are advancing the sustainability efforts in their institutions. There are over 1,000 members of this association, and they represent nearly half of all the students in the country. They're educating nearly half of the students in the U.S. So before I go a little further, I want to give you the working definition of sustainability that we use at Middlebury College. And that definition is living within the regenerative capacity of the earth so that the essential needs of the present generation can be met without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their essential needs. We use that definition to guide our thinking and the choices we make about how we operate the campus and what we teach. It influences things like what kind of energy sources we use, the way we design and construct our buildings, where we get our food from and how it's grown and processed, how we manage our campus grounds and our forest and farmland, what we do with solid and organic waste that we generate, the transportation choices we make, and what we teach in the classroom. So why has sustainability become so prominent at Middlebury and these 1,000 plus higher ed institutions in the United States? I think there's several reasons. Students are increasingly expressing their concern about the future of the planet and the future of their progeny, and looking at the fact that we're nearly 7 billion people on the planet and probably going to add another 2 billion by the middle of the century, and really asking how we're going to do it. They are looking for institutions that practice sustainability, not just talk about it, but they want to see it in action. They want to see that the place they're going to study and learn is actually making a difference in creating a more sustainable future by what they do. I think a second reason is that a lot of times pursuing sustainability goals turns out to make a lot of economic sense, and I'm going to talk about a specific example soon. I think a sustainability ethic really kind of drives institutional thinking to be more creative and more innovative in how you address some of the issues and challenges that you're facing. And I think that kind of innovation and drive to be creative is exciting for students if they can become part of it. I mean, it's a really rewarding experience to solve a big problem in a creative, effective way, and saving money along the way makes it even more satisfying. And I think that's important too, because our students, when they graduate, go out into the world and make their way, and knowing how to do those kinds of things will make a big difference over the long run. I think the economic recession has played a significant role too. It's forced people to reconsider the idea of unlimited growth and consumption as the basis for our economic model and the way we look at how we grow and develop. And I think that people are kind of asking, what is it that makes us more sustainable from an economic point of view? How do we build resilience into our natural systems, into our transportation systems, and the way we operate our campuses? Maybe there is a shift that is occurring that will put more value on less consumptive and less materialistic pursuits in terms of economic goals and values. Sustainability talks about that. So those are all a few good reasons. That's all well and good, but what does sustainability look like at Middlebury College when you take these ideas and put them into practice? I think the best example I can give you from my experience at Middlebury is that in the early 2000s we became quite concerned about climate change and our role as an institution and our impact on climate change, and decided that we needed to demonstrate some leadership in this area. So our trustees set a goal of reducing our carbon emissions to 8% below our 1990 levels by the year 2012. And shortly after, we had an economics and a chemistry professor who taught a class that was designed specifically to answer the question, how do we do that? How do we get our emissions down? And they put together a portfolio of projects that we could do on our campus to reduce our emissions. And we did a number of those projects, but one of the big recommendations they made was to switch the fuel we use to heat and power the campus from fuel oil to wood chips. We're in Vermont, in New England, and Vermont is 80% forested, so we have an abundance of trees and wood available to us. We did a lot of study of a lot of things and came to the conclusion that it made a lot of sense to do this kind of a switch. So in 2006, our trustees voted to borrow $12 million to construct a biomass gasification plant that would provide heat and power for the Middlebury campus. That was a very big decision, and there was a lot of money, and it has paid off tremendously. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, but it's paid off tremendously for us. So we are now no longer burning 1 million gallons of fuel oil. Instead, we're burning 20,000 tons of wood chips. Instead of 1 million gallons from far away places where oil is produced, we're buying these wood chips from within 75 miles of our campus. That is saving us $1 million a year in fuel costs, because the wood chips are much less expensive per BTU than fuel oil. The flip side of that is that we're spending $800,000 of new money in the local economy because we're buying our chips from within 75 miles of the campus. So that's $800,000 of money that's going in the pockets of loggers and foresters and truckers and people who operate mills that wasn't there before, and it's helping support the wood industry in Vermont and the region. We've been able to reduce our carbon emissions by 40% because wood is a fuel that's considered carbon neutral. And finally, having this biomass plant has become a very rich source of learning opportunities for our faculty and our students. It has posed a number of challenging questions for us, such as what is the state of health of the forests from which our wood is being harvested. We've had classes look at that and come up with recommendations about how we purchase our chips, what standards we should be looking for, and how we gather more information about what's going on in the forests where our wood is coming from. Finally, I think it's worth mentioning that this decision to burn wood chips, and really driven by a desire to create a more sustainable future, has attracted incredible interest from the media and the public in general. Very positive, and probably would have cost us an awful lot to pay for that kind of publicity, but it was done just at no cost to us because of the interest in it. So there are a lot of other examples that I could give, but time is short and you have work to do. So I'm going to stop there and hopefully be able to talk with you a little bit on questions and answers today, if the technology supports that. And I just want to thank you and wish you the best in your efforts there.